and we'll see if it works. We'll come to you in a minute, and if it doesn't work, we'll figure it out. What's up? Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Sports Office. It is great to have you here. We got another night. Woody in the house. What are you rocking, G?
I am rocking the old school Pistons City Connect uniform. The new one they are displaying tonight, and it should be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see it.
Are you in the lineup tonight?
We're not sure who's
I am not in the lineup tonight.
So what is it? No Cade?
No Cade.
No
Jalen.
Ivy. No Ivy. We knew that.
Nobody.
No
Tobias.
No Asar.
No Tobias.
Yeah, 6 guys out.
By the way, no one knows who I am. Can you give me a quick intro?
Oh, Greg's here. Say hi to Greg, everybody.
Thank you. Okay.
And we're obviously waiting on the American League Cy Young to find out that Tarik Skubal has won it. That'll be coming up in just a couple of minutes. And you can join us via the Zoom link right there. And we'd love to have you a part of the show tonight, because that would put you in the room over here with Tommy. And Tommy will then say, hey, Dan, I got guys in the Zoom room. And we'll put you up, and then we'll look forward to that. We're going to try Lou?
We're going to try Lou.
We'll see if we can hear Lou. We couldn't hear him a minute ago. Lou, you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
All right. Hey, television.
He is the star and the host of First and North.
He is.
The main guy. Like you're like me.
I am a
First and North.
I am
you're like
a
the
co-star.
sidekick. Yeah.
I'm a
The
co-star.
show sidekick nothing. The show doesn't work without Miller.
I am the straight man. Lou sets up the jokes, and I just roll through it. Hey, Lou.
Yeah.
How's our guy Ben Johnson doing?
Man, I'll tell you what. Thank you guys for letting him come to Chicago. He has been terrific. Listen, Bears fans are ready to build a statue already for this guy here in town, and all they've done is win 6 games. But remember, the bar was pretty low here, considering the coaches we've had since Lovie Smith. I mean, I know Matt Nagy had the 1 year in 2018, but after that, it's been very sad with our coaching staffs. He's been great. Listen, Dan, you warned me a long time ago. You and I had the chance to chat in April at the owners' meetings, and you said this guy is really intense. And if things go sideways, he's going to be not happy about it. You're exactly right. His intensity, because they're winning, again, remember, they're winning, is so appreciated by the fans in this town. That's the one thing. It's a Bears town. I don't care. 2016 Cubs winning a World Series. It's still a Bears town. They appreciate his intensity, and they appreciate that this team has pulled out, 4 of 6 in come from behind fashion.
How has he accelerated Caleb's learning curve now that he's been here a little bit?
He really has. I mean, Caleb, it's been a learning experience for Caleb. Caleb played the quarterback position one way in high school at Oklahoma, at USC, and Ben Johnson came in and said, yeah, that ain't going to work. Okay. we need to do it this way if you want to play for me. And I'm going to be here for 5 years, and you may not. So get on the same page. And I'll say this, Caleb Williams has worked his tail off to deliver what Ben Johnson asked him to do. And it's been a learning experience for both. And Ben just talked about this after the game on Sunday and then again on Monday. You know, he wanted Caleb to become more of a pocket passer. Mm-hmm. The key word there, guys, is more. Didn't want him to be Jared Goff, but also didn't want to mute his athletic ability. So walk the fine line. Don't run all the time when you feel the pocket is breaking down. Keep your eyes downfield. But if you need to take off, take off. And it's been, like I said, a learning experience for both. And what Ben Johnson is realizing right now is, oh my gosh, I can't neuter this kid's athletic ability. And it's worked the last 2 games.
You mentioned the come from behind fashion. Vegas, you win on a blocked field goal. Washington, Moody at the gun. Bengals, Colston Loveland, Michigan fans, there you go. And then the Giants with the Caleb run. Do you look at that and say, oh my gosh, these guys are learning how to win, they're really good in the clutch? Or do you worry about the sustainability of that at all?
I worry about the sustainability, but I also appreciate these players now believe that if they're in the game in the fourth quarter, Somehow, some way, they're going to win this game. Whether it's 18 coming up with these miraculous runs. Listen, I don't know if you guys saw the Giants game. Say what you want about New York's defense. All right, awful against the run. 4 pretty good pass rushers up front.
Right.
By the way, Brian Burns leads the NFL in sacks. They could not pull this guy down. It was driving Dexter Lawrence, Abdul Carter, Brian Burns crazy because they thought, Kayvon Thibodeau, they thought they had him in their grasp, and somehow, as Ben Johnson said, Houdini got away. And now what's happening is, guys, these players are believing in this second-year quarterback. Go through the locker room. Cole Kmet, who's been here through all the losing. DeAndre Swift. The wideouts want, feed the monsters at the wideout position, whether it's Moore, Roma Dunze, Luther Burden, who's starting to get some snaps now. He was up to 31 snaps in the last game against the Giants. They're all starting to believe in the quarterback, and it's working for both sides.
Yeah.
What they're doing kind of reminds me of a little bit of what Washington did last year, where they were finding ways to win. It wasn't always the top competition, but they were finding ways to win and then caught fire when it really mattered and had that, that confidence that they had built throughout the season and then won a couple playoff games. Do you think they could do something similar?
Well, let's hope it's more sustainable than what we're seeing from Washington right now.
Everybody's hurt. The whole team's hurt.
That's our Commanders fan in the place over there, Lou. Tread lightly.
I get it. and you know what? You look at the Bears, okay, and they're minus 4 starters on defense. And I know you guys have gone through your own injuries the last year and a half. So I don't mean to preach about injuries to the Lions and Detroit fans. But we're going to find out a lot on Sunday at Minnesota, all right, on the road in an unfriendly environment. The offensive line has done a really good job. I don't want to overlook these guys. Man, those guys up front have played almost every snap over the last 3-4 games. And they're starting to gel, and they're all starting to learn the scheme, and they're starting to learn where to open the holes. And Swift is starting to grasp and learn. I'm a non-guy. That's where the hole's supposed to be. And Williams is getting, okay, I now need to roll out of the pocket and take off, or if I can find a guy downfield. If they win against Minnesota on Sunday, I think they come home, they knock off Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh, and now potentially they're 8-3, and they need 2 more wins. I believe you need 10 wins to get into the playoffs, and you can ask Seattle, 10 wins doesn't get you in, but from last year. But I think they can go on a heater right now, guys.
Yeah, it's interesting, and you guys should have beaten Minnesota the first time around. That game was right there for the taking. And I will say this, Ben understands what Minnesota wants to do on defense. When he was here, you and I talked about this. He won 4 in a row against Brian Flores' defense. He scored 30 points in every one of those games, so he has an idea. I will say this, grudgingly, I will give Minnesota some of the credit for what they did to us a couple of weeks ago. I think much of it was the Lions not playing good football. But this is going to be a really interesting test for a young quarterback who's taking those next steps against that defense with all the looks that they're going to give you on the road in Minnesota where it's going to be hard to communicate. I agree with you. This is a heck of a test for him. So you're going to learn something this week.
Yeah, and I hope, obviously, Ben Johnson is now devising a game plan because he knows the Flores defense better than anyone that can put this team in a position to win. And then really just bank on your defense making J.J. McCarthy uncomfortable at home. If we've seen anything, it's that McCarthy will go on these runs where he'll look great, and then he can't get the football to Justin Jefferson, and you're wondering what the heck is going on.
Right.
So, yeah, I think the Bears are good for 25 or more in this game. I mean, listen, guys, we're swimming in uncharted waters.
Well, Minnesota's treading water. Lou, you're going to get their best shot. I think we got their best shot. You're going to get their best shot because, if they keep losing, Minnesota's going to be in trouble. Their season's hanging in there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, I think the Bears, if I'm not mistaken, are number 3 in the NFL in total offense right now. I don't think I've ever said that in my lifetime, even at 85.
No, and give me your take on the division. Obviously, we talk about it every week. It airs right here at 7:30 on Fox 2 on First and North. I mean, Lou, I just think we are going to see these teams get dinged the rest of the way. There's going to be losses, and it's just going to be who's standing at the end because we're all going to beat each other up, and the out-of-division schedule is not easy either.
No, I still think, truthfully, I think Detroit's the cream of the crop in the NFC North. You guys have been there before. You know how to get there. Dan Campbell has confidence in the guys that have replaced your coordinators that left. Green Bay, go figure. I mean, they
don't know.
They thought they had Micah Parsons, and I remember, Dan, we did First and North, and I said, okay, well, we know that coming out of the NFC, the Packers are going to Santa Clara in February.
Yeah, and then they throttled us in the first game.
I think they caught you guys off guard. I'll be honest with you. After what I've seen.
It might have had something to do with the guards, but.
I mean, let's look at what they've done. They've lost to the Browns.
Ugh.
Dallas almost had
Carolina.
Okay, 40-40 overtime finish. I don't know what the heck happened to against Carolina at Lambeau Field. In the Eagles game, I get, but I've been talking about it on First and North, Dan. I never thought that Jordan Love was worth the money that he got. So I can't figure out Green Bay. What I do know is this: the Bears have them twice in 3 weeks. So if we can get by Minnesota in this town and Pittsburgh, Philadelphia Black Friday, tough. Yeah. And then you've got the Packers at Lambeau, and then 2 weeks later, the Packers are coming back to Chicago. Then, because remember, what's happened now is the Bears have moved into that 7th spot. If the playoffs were to start this week, the Bears would be the number 7 seed, and San Francisco's out. Well, the Bears got the Niners in Week 17 and Detroit in Week 18.
Yeah, I just think this is going to be – I think it's going to be something else. And I think like I said, I think it's going to be just who can survive getting knocked off a couple times. Final thing, Lou, leave us with this because this is one of my favorite topics. You say you've got the Bears and the Packers 2 more times. Is that Bears-Packers or is that Johnson-LaFleur 2 more times?
Well, you keep reminding me with Ben Johnson.
I'm saying, if you're Matt LaFleur, you got to be so angry about that. It's like, why is my name in your mouth?
Guys, don't you love the way Dan just stirs the pot?
Yeah, it's great.
That's what I love. That's what I love. Hey, listen, I think the Flowers got bigger worries than Ben Johnson right now. He better start winning games. Ed Policy told. Yeah, no extension before the season, during the season. Let's see how the season goes because I don't want a lame duck head coach.
It's going to be fun. Lou, it's good stuff, man. Appreciate you.
I do have
Thank
to
you
say
for
real
joining
quick
us.
that we have never
you
had
guys
a
are
guest.
The best. I love Dan Miller.
Yeah.
We have never had a guest look this good with this type of production
That is
value
true.
behind them.
Yeah,
This is fancy.
that is very true.
Yeah, we usually get people's living rooms.
Guys, I ran upstairs to our other studio so I'd have a little bit of background. You
Looks good, man.
White wall.
Looks
That's some
good.
respect right there.
That is some good stuff, Lou. Appreciate you, man. You're the best.
All right, Lou.
All right, there he is. Lou Canella's joining us right there. And, of course, he is, as Greg pointed out, the host every week of First and North. I hope you tune into that show because I think I really believe it's become a really good show. And it's
a lot of good information on that.
Yeah, and it's a reporter
fun.
from every city in
and
the
it's our
NFC
division.
North.
Right.
Yeah, and people hunger for that. As Lou said, you can't get enough Bears in Chicago. You can't get enough Lions in Detroit. You can talk about some of the other sports. And obviously, look, we love our Pistons. We love our Wings. We love our Tigers. But, man, the NFL, the Shield is the thing. People love the NFL.
Got to remind Lou, what's first tiebreaker? Head-to-head, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, it's in place right now.
We got to get that.
Lions and Bears are tied at 6-3 atop the division. But you know who's in first place? That'd be the Lions because they got the win over the Bears. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But again, I think the rest of the way it's going to be like the rest of this is going to be like Hearns Hagler round 1. It's just going to be guys throwing punches, taking punches.
Look it up on YouTube if you don't know what he's talking about.
If that's too old a reference for you guys, take 3 minutes and look it up. But it's going to be fun. All right, we'll take a break. Our guy Zebo is going to play us out. We got a lot more to talk about. Skubal, did he win yet?
Not yet. We'll have breaking news when we come back.
Well, he's going to win the Cy Young. We'll have that on the other side. Let's go, Z. Oh, by the way, hey, hang on. Right back there. We are 5 days accident-free.
Woo! 5 days.
Accident-free.
5 days.
Woo! Good job,
Yes,
James.
sir. Soon to be 6.
That means our sports rookie
Soon to be
has
6.
been clean.
Good job, James.
Clean. Good job. You got 4 hours to make it 6. 4 hours to make it 6. Let's get there. We're waiting on Tarik Skubal to be named the Cy Young Award winner. We're keeping an eye on that. He will.
Yeah, feel free to
be
drag it out,
barring-
MLB Network. Good
Well,
God.
you know what they got to do. It's like they got to do some interviews and do all that stuff. Hey, Scott Boras had some things to say about the negotiations today. I want to come back and talk about it, but here's what Skubal's agent had to say.
The fans in Detroit want the Tigers to build a Tarik Barrick. You know, he's built a base. Obviously, everywhere they go, they know it's Skubal Day. They understand that organization is substantially different if he's not there. All we know is that we hear mostly from the fans, and the player hears from the fans, and it's kind of like it should be Scooby done, right? And if not, I think the fans would certainly think it's a Detroit doink if they don't.
So if it's Scooby,
Zoinks!
it's Scooby Dun. It's Scooby Dun or it's Ruh-roh. Ruh-roh.
Raggy. Oh, man.
Look, that's a dude who's used to being in this position, who's just holding all the cards.
You think he hasn't?
He's holding all the cards.
Thrown out some feelers on that number because
Well-
talking to Pat Caputo, he's like, I don't know where they're getting $400 million from. Maybe him.
Oh, I think he drives the conversation. And I think the question is, and they were talking about it on MLB Tonight, of the Tigers listening. What if you went to him and said, look, first of all, I got problems giving a 10-year contract to a guy who's 29 soon to be 30.
Yes,
I got
I
problems
would
with
agree.
that. So what if you go to him and you say, hey, we'll give you 7 years, $315. That's $45 million a year. We'll give you an out after 2 years if you want to go hit the free agent market. I mean, is there a deal that can be made so that the best pitcher in baseball doesn't walk away from Detroit?
I think there is a deal that can be made, and I think we've heard it already because Will Birchfield said it. 6-year deal at $350. That might be the one that keeps him here.
Oh, I got to do the math now. That's six
told there'd be
350.
no
That's
math.
$50 million, and then 8. That's $58 million a year. I don't know if you need to go that high.
Okay, then fine.
I don't
But a
know if he can
6-year
go that
deal
high.
somewhere in that range would probably be the best because you said he's 29
I
right
got him
now.
over $300 million for 7, at $45 million a year.
Look, the number is making my head hurt already, Dan. So
But you know what makes your head hurt more?
Not having
It's him
him.
pitching for the Yankees
Oh,
or the
no.
Dodgers.
Now my head
or the
really
Phillies,
hurts. Yeah.
or Toronto.
Or
The problem
or
with
something
Boris
like that.
is
Just keep him out of the Dodgers.
the problem with Boris is that no one has more experience with these high-priced guys
Than
than he
him,
does.
yeah.
He holds all the cards, as you said. He's running this show. Skubal's just gonna.
So,
yeah.
what happens if you keep him? And this is one thing they were talking about on MLB Network tonight. You have to decide, do you really think you're good enough to win a World Series? That team last year wasn't. So what are you going to do to make it better? So if you keep him, and let's just say you are battling for first place at the trade deadline in the AL Central, okay? But you don't really think you're good enough to win a World Series. Are you then in a tough position? Because first of all, if you keep him to the trade deadline, the amount you can get for him goes
Right,
down,
you get
down,
pennies
down,
on the
down,
dollar
down.
on that, right,
Yeah, I
right.
mean, probably already down because he's only got 1 year left unless somebody can sign him to a contract, and that might be part of a deal that's made. But if you get to the trade deadline, you decide, okay, we're not good enough to win a World Series, so we're going to trade this guy. Then you're in a difficult position of saying to your fans, yeah, I know we're in first place and I know we're going to the playoffs, but we didn't want to lose him for nothing. To which point they may say, well, why didn't you say that during the offseason when you could have gotten a haul of like 5 or 6 prospects?
Or
I can't see them trading him if they're in first place.
Yeah, I don't-
No matter
I-
what, because any team can get hot. Get
You know
on a
what you
run
can see at
in
that
the
point?
playoffs.
You see him win a round,
Yeah.
maybe get to the ALDS
Right.
again.
but
Yeah.
the question
And
is,
then you know what happens 2 months after that?
He plays for the
He
Yankees,
leaves.
right?
the question is still there though. If he does stay, will the team put enough around him? We saw that this
think that's
past
an
year, and they didn't do
excellent
anything
Point. And I
except bring in
think-
Kyle Finnegan and a couple other guys who never even pitched.
I think that's an excellent point, and I do wonder how much that weighs on Tarik Skubal to say, I want to go someplace where they're going to do everything possible to win, versus being in Detroit, where
Exactly.
I'm not sure if they're going to do that.
And they have
I'm
the
being
money.
respectful because I know that they have a heck of a farm system, but
There's no pitching in it.
There are differences in major leagues in terms of commitment to win. And it's the differences in finances. I get that. But right now, if you're Tarik Skubal and you have a choice to go between the teams that we just named that are spending 3, 4, 5 times what Detroit is spending, it's a problem.
Big problem.
It's a problem.
Big problem.
All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come right back. I don't think there's a good answer for this, guys.
No answer.
I can.
You know what? Whatever happens,
we could be in
there's going to be
debate
people
class
mad
right now,
either way.
And the teacher
Exactly.
could say, argue, trade him. And I could argue, trade him. She
Right.
could say, argue, keep him. And I
Keep
could
him.
argue, keep him. She could say, argue, keeping him to the deadline. And I could do that. There is no great answer. It's a difficult situation. We'll be right back.
This is why you get so mad last year, because with 2 years of team control, it would have been so much better.
Oh, what's this? Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. Tarik Skubal wins the American League Cy Young Award for the second consecutive year.
Like those fancy graphics we got?
Just a quick appreciation for him.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
What a dude, man.
Yeah, yeah.
What a dude.
Definitely the guy I want starting my rotation if I'm putting a team together.
Yeah.
He's the first guy.
Yeah, I'd
A
rather he
leader-
pitched into the seventh inning.
A
Exactly.
leader
Wow.
and a leader by example and leader by just a guy you want.
Yeah.
I want him for like 110 pitches, not 99.
Should have gone into the seventh inning in Seattle.
No,
I mean,
but come on,
It's
I
kind of
mean-
no.
But
you know,
seriously,
they
I
lost
mean,
the lead in the next
his
inning.
performance over the last few years, I mean, it's
He's
deserving.
a stud.
You see it. Yeah.
He's unreal.
I mean, he's unstoppable.
The best pitcher in baseball. He and Paul Skeens, who will win the National League Cy Young Award. And it's fun to watch, but we don't know where it's going to go from
This
here.
just
So
adds
I
to
wish
his
I had
paycheck
answers.
coming up.
Yeah.
You know, another Cy Young
Yeah,
award.
I think that paycheck is just fine. I think that, I don't think Scott Boras needs to make the case anymore. I think
No.
it's basically, here's what they're willing to pay him. Where you at?
Exactly.
And then you go from there. But congratulations to Tarik Skubal. Congratulations to the Tigers. That's a really cocool thing. Have 2 consecutive Cy Young Award winners.
I think Velma could be his agent and he'd be okay.
Zoinks! Zoinks! Hey, Scoob! Yeah, exactly.
All right, we're out of here. Thanks for joining us on this edition. Thanks to Lou Canella. Thanks to the boys. You got 3.5 hours to be accident-free, James.
We didn't even talk about Michigan State or, vacating wins or any of that.
Edmund Fitzgerald was launched in 1958. She was the largest carrier on the Great Lakes. For the next 17 years, she routinely hauled iron ore from Silver Bay, Minnesota, all the way to Toledo, Ohio. But on the infamous night of November 10th, 1975, her legacy changed as the ship sank to the bottom of Lake Superior, claiming the lives of all 29 men on board. Welcome to Fox 2's special presentation, The Gales of November, the legacy of the Edmund Fitzgerald. I'm Derek Kevra. It was 50 years ago that the news trickled in that the SS Edmund Fitzgerald had succumbed to the winds and waves of Superior. But 24 hours before the ship went down, it was business as usual for the crew as they loaded up for their final voyage of the year.
That it happened so quickly that there was little chance that anybody from the crew could have survived this disaster.
Just like that, it went down. It's less than a minute, cracked in half, and it's gone.
No one could have imagined that when the SS Edmund Fitzgerald set out from Wisconsin to Detroit in early November 1975, that trip would be its last. Certainly not its captain or 28 crew members who were making a journey they had already made hundreds of times. Where does it take off from, and where's the course it takes that night?
Fitzgerald did 80% of its trips actually leaving Silver Bay, but this trip actually came out of Superior, Wisconsin.
The 5-day trip was one the famous ship made almost 50 times a year. But on November 9th, as the Fitzgerald leaves the Burlington Northern docks, loaded with 26,000 tons of taconite pellets, a storm in Oklahoma is headed in her direction. A storm pattern typical for this time of year. So they set sail. Soon after, the Fitzgerald meets up with another vessel, an important character in this story, the Arthur M. Anderson.
So they start to go up together, and they have a decision to make here. The Blau is already hiding from the storm. It's larger than the Fitzgerald. Do they go around and hide from the storm, or do they keep going?
Rick Mixter, a Fitzgerald documentarian, has spent decades telling stories of the shipwrecks on the Great Lakes and has become an expert on tracing the last hours of the Edmund.
Typically, you'd go the shortest distance to get to Whitefish Point, but here they decide to go very far north because they know when that front comes in, the waves are going to build.
Around 1:40 p.m., Captain Ernest McSorley issues a radio call that his vessel, the Edmund Fitzgerald, is rolling from inside the pilot house. Outside, blistering wind, heavy snow, and low visibility are making the water hazardous. 2 hours later, reports of damaged vents and broken fences come in, and the U.S. Coast Guard issues an emergency broadcast to find safe anchorage.
That means there's 8-inch openings in the deck with water pouring into the Edmund Fitzgerald.
And not only that, there's also possible damage from previous storms over the years. They could have stopped behind Slate Island near Canada, but instead, they push on. At the Otterhead, they turn south, hoping to slip between Michipicoten and Caribou Islands as they meet the heart of the storm. Around this time, the Fitzgerald's captain reports their radios are out. They're blind. They're going to need the other ship, the Arthur Anderson, to guide them. At 7:10 p.m., the Arthur Anderson's first mate radios to the Fitzgerald to ask how they're doing. Their famous response from Captain McSorley, "We're holding our own." But they weren't. It would be the Fitzgerald's final radio message. The ship vanishes soon after, along with its crew. The wheelman on board the Arthur Anderson would later tell his captain he thought he saw the Fitzgerald's stern light disappear from the water's surface.
He had a lift and he said he was holding his own. The last time I talked with him, he said he was holding his own, and that's the last time I lost contact after that.
Beyond debris, the only signs of what happened was the recovery of 2 inflatable life rafts and the remains of 2 steel lifeboats, one found floating near the wreck site and the other washing up in Canada.
They are proof that this event, this sinking, happened so quickly that no one had a chance to survive because no one made it into the water to get to a life raft.
After the Edmund sank, the powers that be took a long, hard look at safety standards, and they made some changes. For example, enhanced communication gear was now required with backup power for radios, as well as stronger hatch covers and mandatory depth finders. One more big upgrade, weather reporting improvements. That's right, forecasters reviewed their current weather communication protocols, and they made some changes for when the gales of November come early.
Nothing could destroy the Fitz, except a fierce November gale on the lakes. Lake storms are possibly the most feared in the world. Great Lakes sailormen are said to ponder the curse of the 11th month, November.
They are called the gales of November. Late-year wind events with a ferocious energy that can bring monster waves, howling storms, and are behind what is considered a graveyard of sunken vessels, including the region's most famous shipwreck, the Edmund Fitzgerald. They visit the Great Lakes every year, low pressure pulling cold air from the north, mixing with comparatively warm water temperatures and fueling unstable weather systems. The result? Hurricane-force winds and waves that reach 3 stories high.
And the thing on the Great Lakes is, you know, we're different in a sense that on the ocean, when you get hit by a wave, it may take a little bit longer to get hit by the next wave. Whereas here on the Great Lakes, our frequency of getting hit by waves repeatedly is much higher.
It's on the 350-mile-wide Lake Superior, where these extremes happen on a grand scale.
How bad was it out there?
Well, when the sea starts coming over the pilot house, you know that you got a pretty big sea.
The pilot house is 50 feet high.
It's at least 50 feet high on the ship, yeah.
Donald Erickson, captain of the William Clay Ford carrier, describes what it was like on the water after the storm had passed. You see, he was the first person to search for survivors after the Fitzgerald sank.
This was a very large storm system, a very strong storm system, and the impacts can linger for quite some time.
The storm that hit the Fitzgerald started over Oklahoma. It moved north through the eastern UP and then into the eastern side of Lake Superior before continuing north into Canada. The first gale warning issued on November 9th, the day before the ship sank. Nowadays, when severe weather warnings are issued, we all get those alerts on our phone. Well, that was different in 1975. However, at 2 a.m. on November 10th, when the gale warning was upgraded to a storm warning, the captain of the Edmund Fitzgerald did indeed receive that information. But there wasn't much he could do. The Fitzgerald was stuck in the middle of a strengthening storm with 60-mile-per-hour winds at its back, being tossed around in 25-foot waves. Captain McSorley had one choice. After traveling almost the entirety of Lake Superior, he had to get to Whitefish Point. In the end, he couldn't compete with the gales of November and sank 17 miles from shore. A lot has changed since 1975 when it comes to forecasting severe weather on the Great Lakes. Over the last decade, improved buoys and sensors give weather modeling a head start to predicting when and how severe weather will affect shipping. Additionally, in 2021, the U.S. Coast Guard began to regularly use Safety Alert 0721. That's an alert for mariners for unexpected heavy weather dangers, and that points out rapid and extreme shifts in the weather. Coming up after the break, one thing that Edmund experts can agree on is that most people can't agree on why exactly the Fitzgerald went down. We're going to take a look at the leading theories and what has changed in the last 50 years. Next.